That's a really lovely and very generous introduction, Natasha, and being called a trailblazer from a trailblazer is very high praise indeed, so it's very, very kind. Can I also particularly thank the Deputy Premier for being able to host us here in this fabulous venue in South Australia, and Michelle Lensick, who is my co-host of the Women's Safety Ministers meeting, but also this fantastic summit to which you are all amazing contributors. I won't go through all of my federal and state colleagues because they've already been introduced, but I would particularly like to thank each and every one of you for having come here to contribute your expertise, your passion, your commitment and your dedication to a truly national plan that will reduce violence against women and children. Because the truth is we are all here because we share a deep and abiding passion. We want every woman and every child in Australia to be safe in their homes, in their workplaces, on the street and online. And we know that being safe is far from a grandiose ambition. It is a basic human right. And in Australia, the statistics surrounding domestic, family and sexual violence are, as you all know, quite shocking. And the stories behind the statistics are shocking. Women and children should feel safe, but far too many of them are scared. Women and children should be protected, but far too many are preyed upon. Women and children should be enjoying life, but far too many are no longer here. Last month, we once again witnessed the brutality and the tragedy of violence against women and children. A woman, her 3 young daughters and her mother were all killed, allegedly by the woman's husband. I spoke in Parliament about this, about how futile and incomprehensible this killing was, and like many of you, I shed a tear. Because this year alone, and on far too many occasions, the nation has been shocked and saddened by family violence, and it has torn families apart because we have seen women and children killed as a result of those acts of violence. And it's clear that despite our best efforts, despite hundreds of millions of dollars in federal government funding in recent years, domestic, family and sexual violence remains all too common in Australia. According to data compiled by the ABC, so don't let's say that federal ministers don't respect the ABC, Australian police deal with domestic violence every 2 minutes. That means so far today, police in Australia will have dealt with more than 500 domestic violence matters, and it is a deeply worrying statistic. But what is even more worrying is that only a very small proportion of women who experience domestic violence actually contact police. And it is also the same for women who experience sexual violence. Many of these women suffer in silence, behind closed doors, unknown to the rest of us. And the reasons why, as many of you will have discussed already, are complex. In the case of women who experience violence at the hands of a partner or a former partner, some women believe that they should deal with it themselves. Others feel embarrassment and shame. And some women think that the violence isn't serious enough for them to seek help. Many women also fear that their complaints won't be taken seriously, and many more choose not to contact police because they are afraid of the person responsible for that violence. That means that the problem is actually far worse than the numbers might suggest. As I've said in Parliament, we need to redouble our efforts together to stop these tragedies. We must improve support for those women and their children who are affected by violence. And this summit is a forum, a fantastic forum to share best practice and to add to our toolkit to better tackle domestic, family and sexual violence, to come up with truly national strategies to make sure that women and their children can live their lives safe and free. Today, you've had some good discussions about the 4th Action Plan, of the National Plan to Reduce Violence Against Women and Their Children. You've talked about where more effort is needed and what success might look like. As we know, the fourth action plan is the final stage of the national plan. So far, we've built robust infrastructure and an evidence base, and the fourth action plan will build on this. Since 2010, the national plan has brought together the efforts of governments across Australia to reduce violence against women and their children. And while we must acknowledge that there is still a long way to go in our country before all women and their children live free from violence, we should also be proud that the national plan has resulted in important steps forward. Today, with thanks to Australia's National Research Organisation for Women's Safety, the Personal Safety Survey and the National Community Attitudes Towards Violence Against Women Survey, we have a growing evidence about the prevalence of and attitudes towards violence in the community. And from this evidence, we are much better able to gauge success and determine where our focus is needed. From the establishment of Our Watch, we now have a national prevention framework. And 1800 RESPECT provides free 24-hour national online and telephone counselling and support services for people who have experienced or at risk of experiencing family, domestic or sexual violence. And Lifeline provides training to workforces that support people affected through the DV Alert program. We also now have specialist domestic violence units, the Safe at Home program and a housing and homelessness agreement that prioritises women and children who are escaping family violence, as well as a plan to roll out a national domestic violence order scheme. Then of course there is the multi-award-winning Stop It at the Start campaign, which was jointly funded by the Commonwealth Government along with the states and territories to reduce violence against women and their children. The campaign aims to help adults positively influence the attitudes of young people around respectful relationships and gender equality. And the response to the campaign has far exceeded expectations. Evaluation research for the first phase showed that before the campaign started, 68% of people agreed that violence against women starts with disrespect of women. But after seeing the campaign, that number rose to almost 80%. Studies show that social marketing has a growing presence in efforts to address the causes of violence against women. It can provide messages about attitudes, behaviour, relationships, and give people the skills to challenge sexist beliefs. We have seen the impact that attitudinal change has had on behaviours. We have done this very successfully in tackling other significant health problems, such as smoking, drink driving, or binge drinking. And we must continue to pursue attitudinal change so that we can stop violence before it starts. And tomorrow we'll be launching the second phase of that plan. Our past successes are the building blocks for the fourth action plan, but integral to that success is each and every person who is in this room and the organisations that you represent and the people that you represent. Together, federal government, state government, ministers, national organisations, peak bodies, service providers, academics, the corporate sector, the community, and of course, victims, survivors of family, domestic or sexual violence. Together, we have created a united force to achieve real, lasting and truly national change. Your input and your insights are vitally important. Women impacted by domestic, family and sexual violence come from diverse backgrounds and they have diverse needs. Your thoughts and feedback are helping us to constantly improve how we can support all women. Since July, we have consulted far and wide, and it has emerged that the fourth action plan should focus on prevention, response, and recovery. And tomorrow, these themes are going to be really central to our discussions. It will be a great opportunity to reflect on what we've all learned and work out how we can best move forward together to reduce violence against women and children. So whether violence against women happens in the street or in the home, whether it's at the hands of a stranger or someone that they know, all violence against women and children is a crime, and Australia treats it as such. The underlying causes of domestic, family and sexual violence are complex, and so too are the reasons that it's not reported to police. And there is no denying that there are great challenges ahead. But challenging times require the best from each and every one of us. Let's not underestimate the importance of this opportunity. This summit provides the chance to shape the last stage of the national plan that will provide practical measures to keep women and children safe, and we must work together to achieve it. We owe it to the women and children that we've lost, and we owe it to the women and children who are living with violence today.